sparking hope and fear for so many Americans. Christian missionary and Ebola patient Dr. Kent Brantley back in the U.S.
Here again, this shape, this arch with this 90 degree. I know this shot is a little blurry right here because it's just sort of a transition screen. And again, these are just, and understand, these are highly technical. Look at how detailed all of this is just for a fraction of a second of time, which means this is being targeted towards your subconscious mind on purpose, because these folks that are making these things know that your conscious mind does not perceive these things at this frame rate. You cannot even pick up on it consciously, which is the whole point. So I'll continue to go slowly forward, and we'll notice certain shapes again. This interlocking pattern will be visible over and over and over again to you in different mnemonic circles, sequences, on different channels, on TV, in different programs that you're being programmed with. And so here we go. Here's another spinning mnemonic that comes right out of the center of that one. And everything spins in here. I'm going to kind of just go through this now until we come to some more parts. And again, there's the count up. So as this thing starts off, it's a count up. So watch, it shows you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's a count up, okay? And then the next process is a count down. And what they do, and all of this is well documented, and if you research mind control and hypnosis and hypnotic techniques, it's well documented that if you want to put somebody in a very, very deep trance, one way to do it is to bring them up and down, in and out of hypnotic states.
A population that is completely, glued to the television.
Right.
Yeah. Not realizing why they're having such a hard time getting up and walking away from it.
That's right. Yeah, it's become just such the social norm to do that, and so socially acceptable that, and not just in our country too. Of course, it's pervasive here in the United States, but this is a global mind control effect that we're going to discuss.
And she talks about the dark forces, how they understand to some extent the science of imagery, and that they've kept that information from the masses. The blowing up of the 9/11 World Trade Towers again and again, watching the BP oil spill again and again, watching the birds covered in oil again and again and again and again.
Right.
Gets people to focus on these images and thereby create that reality. We don't have our own images anymore. We don't even have an image for our future Earth to be beautiful, except the images that the dark forces are presenting to us right now, and we are feeding them with our attention.
So your average child, by the time it grows up and it's an 18-year-old adult, it has seen so much trauma, so much sex, and so much violence through the TV and mass media that individual, even though they're not directly part of the Illuminati satanic network, in a way they are, because they are also dissociated. There's a difference between disassociated and dissociated. They have dissociated violence and sex into another aspect of their mind, and what that does is that turns humans into violent creatures, because Bonnie and I both believe adamantly that human beings, if left to their own devices and not put through all of this satanic mind control, We are loving, caring beings by nature. We are not violent. And even all the wars that have ever taken place on this planet do not point to human beings being naturally violent. We are violent through mind control only.
Come out of this. So there's a lot of magic going on, right? And a lot of people are literally under what I'm trying to say is that, because it's very difficult to understand this properly. What I'm trying to say is that there are a lot of what's happening today is in this realm, and it's very difficult for people to understand this. But when you study it, what you find is that a lot of the people involved in mass control are actually heavily involved in this science. And that's what you find out when you do the research. Many of the people that are involved in film, many of the people involved in music, many of the people that are involved in newscasting, they know how to manipulate the minds of people. And whether it's done with this type of magic or simply with the power of technology and the higher magic, the result is the same. You get people that are as if they're possessed. And this is why it would be indistinguishable. You know, we've got kids that are stabbing children. We've got people that are just shooting people and not knowing why they're doing these things. And this is coming out of a culture that is really, really profoundly disturbed in its essence, because no civilization that was healthy would produce the type of games that they're exposing these young children to. No civilization that was healthy would produce the type of films where they have films where the main character tortures people and chops off their fingers and their hands, or slowly tortures them to death. Muslims would have never come up with these type of ideas, because their culture is not a demonic, dark culture. It's become demonic and dark because of a lot of madness that's happened in the Muslim world. I mean, there's a lot of demonic, dark things going on, and these people are really. Dostoevsky called his book about the terrorists the possessed, and in one translation it's called the demons. I don't know the Russian word for it, but he certainly understood that there was something demonic involved in this. So that's, this is difficult for people to deal with this stuff, but when you actually find out about the characters that were involved in producing a lot of this technology, and you read the history of it, you find that they were really involved in a lot of these things, which is very strange. And when you see the result that these things have on people and the effect that they have on them. So, I mean, I don't know, Arthur C. Clarke, who said that advanced technology becomes indistinguishable from magic, was involved in magic. He was involved in numerology. It's very strange that they place these satellites at 22,000 feet, because those are their numbers, 11, 22, 33. They like multiples of 11 and things like this. So I don't know. I mean, we're all trying to work this thing out, aren't we? But these things are real, and jadoo, whatever you want to call it, it's real. And that's why and I'll tell you something just personally. For me, I didn't really give a lot of this credence, because I wasn't raised like this. I was raised, my father was a college professor. I certainly wasn't raised with the idea, like magic was something, I thought magic was pulling rabbits out of hats and things like that. When I became Muslim and I heard all these things, and I didn't really, whatever, it wasn't really something. But in the last few years, it's become much clearer to me how much this is actually a force working in the world. And it makes much more sense to me now why there are so many hadiths and so many protective du'as against this stuff. This is evil. And also أعوذ بكلمات من همزات الشياطين. You know, the influences of the demons. The Prophet ﷺ said, وَأَنْ يَحْضُرُونَ, or that they should become present. You know, so the demonic realm is real. And there are people, unfortunately, that are actively involved in attempting to bring that realm into this realm. And this is where it gets very strange.
محمد رسول الله